guys, this is John Corabi, and you are watching May the Rock Be With You. Turn it up.
How are you, mate?
How you doing? All right?
Excellent. Thank you. Good to chat to you.
You too.
Excellent. Yeah, mate, always a pleasure to have you. We've spoken a couple of times over the years, and it's been about 3 years since we last chatted. So why don't we just catch up? How's the last 3 years been for you?
How do you think?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's been interesting. Obviously, this COVID thing really kind of put a halt to a lot of industries, but definitely the entertainment industry. I mean, so I'm to be honest with you, I'm glad it's starting to creep back to a new normal, not old normal, but I'm just glad to be getting back to work and keeping my fingers crossed. You know what I mean?
Yeah, best thing to do. And the best part of this is you are heading back to Australia. So you're coming back to see us, but this time you're coming solo and acoustic, something you haven't done here before, which is really cool. Can you give us an idea on how these shows are structured and what we can expect?
It's a little bit of everything. There's really no, it's funny, there's really no rhyme or reason to anything. I don't write up a set list. You know, it's literally me sitting on a bar stool with a microphone. And I'm literally just going to play some songs acoustically from all the different bands throughout my career, tell some stories, jokes. I actually play a few old cover songs that I grew up listening to. So it's a, hey, how are you? This is John Corabi kind of a thing, you know, like just really, you know, really stripped down, naked and intimate. So it should be cool. It should be fun. Awesome.
Now, with some of these songs that you try and perform acoustically, do you find some of them take on a different meaning when you strip them back a little bit?
No, not really. I mean, some of them are a little different, obviously, musically. Songs, for example, like Hooligan's Holiday, it's got a completely different vibe to it. But it's just, you know, again, it's taking away all of the other stuff, and it's just really the lyrics. It's more about the melody, the lyrics, and just a little bit of musical accompaniment. Yeah. So it's really stripping the songs down to their, I guess, barest form. And that, I think, gives the audience the chance to really, oh God, like, is that that's what he's been singing there all these years, you know, and it gets you to focus on the meaning of the song, or if there is a message there, whatever, you know what I mean? So it's just really stripped, like I said, stripped down and intimate.
Yeah, fair enough. On the other side of that, though, are there any you've tried that just don't work in an acoustic format?
Yeah, I mean, I'll have a fan, inevitably somebody will yell out like, "Smoke the Sky," and I'm like, oh my God, dude, seriously. It's, you know, now it's funny, I've been trying to do a few times. I've tried one of the new songs I just released a few months back called Casi Bella. And for I don't know if it's the piano. I don't know what the deal is. I might have to think about it a little more and maybe arrange it differently or something, but it's not translating with the audience. The streams did great. And the majority of the feedback I got was like, oh, love the song. It's killer. But it is a very busy song. It's a pop song. And, you know, there's so much stuff going on in there. I don't know if it's translating. So that's one that's kind of hit or miss.
All right. Well, you got about 2 weeks to do that before you get to Australia.
I'm going to, trust me, there's going to be some last minute tweaking to see if I can figure that one out.
Excellent. Now, you are no stranger to Australian shores. You've been here a number of times. Do you have a favorite memory of a previous tour down here?
Actually, yes, is a joke. If you know Eric Singer,
yeah,
You know, he's got a very odd personality. He's extremely funny. But I remember we were staying, it was with ESP, and I think it was my first trip here. And Eric and I found this place near our hotel that was serving kind of breakfast a little late. Mm-hmm. And, you know, so I got some ham and some eggs and potatoes, and Eric just ordered some coffee, and you know, so we're the cook and I guess the owner was he says, "Oh, have you guys, you know, musicians?" We're like, "Yeah, we're musicians." And he goes, "Ever been to Australia before?" And I go, "Well, this is my first time. He's been here a few times." Point to Eric. And the guy goes, "Oh, your first time here?" I go, "Yep, it's my first time here." He goes, "What do you think?" And before I could answer, Eric, kidding around, obviously, Eric goes, "Yeah, I'm not impressed." You know, he goes, "It's a prison colony. What do you want?" And I looked at Eric and I go, "Shut the fuck up. Like, oh, dude, like," and then he's like, "How would you like your eggs?" I'm like, "You know what? Just skip the whole order. I'll just take a coffee." I'm like, I'll never forget that. It was funny. But yeah, you got to know Eric's personality, and he's got a very sarcastic sense of humor. You know, he didn't mean anything by it. He loves it down here, or loved it down in Australia, and we had a blast. But he was just, you know, he's just got that little twingy, sarcastic sense of humor. It was funny.
That's great. I love that. Now, speaking of stories, you've also got an autobiography on the way. So you got Horseshoes and Hand Grenades. Now, what was it like recounting your life and career and putting it down into words?
It was tedious. I mean, because I wrote it with a guy from Melbourne, Paul Miles. Yeah, and you know, so he was very thorough with his research, and we kind of conducted it like an interview. And then he put it in like a transcript form and then sent it to me. And then I went through it and I crisscrossed things off, and then I rewrote things, and then I sent it back. And we did this like, God, 8 or 9 times. Mm. So it was very tedious, but it was good and bad. Like, there was very cool moments in the book where I was like kind of happy, and I kind of relived that while I was reading it. And then there was other moments where it was like, oh my God, you know, leaving Motley, the lawsuit, you know, divorces. And I was just going through some of the insanity. And I was like, oh God, I like a couple times I had to like walk away from it, go make myself a coffee or a tea, and then come back and get back into it again. I'm like, oh my God, I'm getting a fucking stomach ache over this. So it was, but at the same time, I think it was a big cleansing as well. So it was cool. It was definitely overall a positive experience.
Yeah, great. I think it comes out on June 14, I think is the release date.
Yeah. And, you know, I don't know if it's going to happen or not. I know the publisher was really trying to make it work to get some like copies down to Australia for all the shows. I know I think I'm doing an in-store signing bookstore thing somewhere in Sydney. Okay. But you know, we're just at this point, I didn't even really want to put it out there because I don't know if the books are going to arrive in time, if they're going to get through customs and all the BS that has to happen. Yep. You know, for that kind of stuff. But we'll see.
We'll see how we go. Now, many fans obviously primarily know you for Motley Crue and the likes, and you mentioned a little bit in there. Have we got a nice couple of chapters, like really in depth about the Crue time in the book?
No, you know what it is? It's really, again, like the book, I really tried to make the book not about any of the people that I was in the bands with or any of the women I was married to. It's more like what I was going through mentally and physically, like going from, you know, a pauper to joining Motley Crue, the excitement, like all those things that I was, you know, killer. And then also how I felt when I was leaving the band or going through a divorce or whatever. Wow. So it's really kind of more an in-depth look into like me trying to process everything and how I was feeling while all of this shit was happening. I mean, and we go all the way back to the very beginning, like birth.
Cool.
So it's a bit, the book it's long. You're definitely getting your money's worth with the book, but everybody that's read it so far is pretty pleased. They're like, it's a great read. It goes into depth. And, you know, again, it wasn't written to throw anybody under the bus. I'm just being as truthful as possible. And hopefully I'll keep my fingers crossed that I don't piss anybody off, whatever.
Best thing to do. Now, along with the new book, you've got new music. So your own Worst Enemy has just been released recently. Can we expect more, or an album or something coming soon?
Yeah. I mean, the reason why it's taken me, you know, obviously we just had 2.5 years of COVID and you know, that nightmare. Initially I'd planned on doing a record, and then I was working with the guy that actually, a very dear friend of mine, Marty Fredrickson, who produced a couple of Dead Daisies records. Marty was talking to me and he goes, dude, like, you know, have you ever really sat down and thought about like the music industry isn't what it used to be? Like a lot of people don't buy records anymore. They don't buy CDs. They don't buy, like, it's more about streaming, downloads. And, you know, now at the same time, COVID hit. And then I kind of was frustrated with myself that I had never really been a little more hands-on in the actual recording process. Like I didn't, and I still don't, I still can't say I know what I'm doing. I took some Pro Tools classes as well, and, you know, during COVID online. And I literally started like recording some of my own ideas.
Wow.
The song Casi Bella and Your Own Worst Enemy, I actually recorded in my bedroom on a laptop.
Wow.
And then I give them, like, I take them to as far as I can take them. And then I send the files to Marty, and I just kind of, hey, dude, make me sound like I know what I'm doing. And he puts his fairy dust on it and makes it sound like a polished record. But yes, there will be an album out. There will be some vinyl CDs. But right now, I'm just trying to figure out like how everybody's doing it now. Like, I guess the blueprint is to release 3, 4, 5, 6 songs and then drop an album, which I'm okay with. It, whatever, it don't matter. I'm still moving forward, but it takes me a little bit longer to get shit done because I still don't totally know what I'm doing when it comes to. So
that's awesome. Now, we talked about the last 2 years. Obviously, there were doozies for everyone. But what, though, if anything, has this whole situation taught you you're going to now maintain throughout your life and career?
Well, what I just said, I just, it really made me think like, okay, you know, all of a sudden it was like no gigs. And I was in the studio and it's like, okay, no recording, got to quarantine. And I was sitting there kind of like, holy shit. Like, now, meanwhile, I'm watching all these other artists are putting out, you know, like videos and new songs, and they're doing live performances online. And I'm just sitting there going, God, like, I wish I would have learned back, you know, I mean, fuck, I've done 14 or 15 records.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there going, I wish I would have been more attentive to how you do this shit. And I just said, you know what? I'm taking a shot. I'm going to learn how to do this. And then what I did is I reevaluated, you know, obviously if you look like the last 10 years or so, things have been going in a different direction than how they used to be in the 80s and 70s. And so I started thinking like, well, I don't need money from a record label to record because now I can record myself. And nowadays it's more about podcasts than it was magazines and then like all that stuff. And a guy like me's rarely going to get on the radio. MTV doesn't exist. So it just really made me rethink everything and say, you know what? Just do it yourself. Record yourself. Put your music out when you want. If you want to do 2 songs, great. Do a single, an A-side, B-side, and sell it at your shows, or do an album, or do an EP, or just do whatever you want to do, but be in control of your own destiny and learn how to do this shit yourself so that you don't ever get caught with your pants down like I just did with COVID. And I'm relying on everybody. So it really, COVID definitely, if I can take a positive from it, it really made me rethink and make me be self-sufficient.
That's awesome. I love to hear that. Now, we're looking back over your career, and you've, like you said, you've been in about 486,000 bands. But looking over your career, it's easy to say.
It's 496,013 bands.
I missed that. I missed a couple. It can be very.
Forgot about my time in ABBA.
That's what it was. Like, damn it, I should have researched more. But when you look back, it can be very easy to say what can change over time, though. For you, though, what's the one thing that's always remained the same about what you do?
You know what? Let's be realistic. I've had some success, but in the grand scheme of things, minimal success. I just love doing what I do. And it's like, you know, the one consistent through everything is every time I write a song, I think that's the one that's going to put me over the top. So I think the one consistent has been the fact that I still, maybe I'm a dumbass, but I still look at the world through rose-colored glasses. And I think that, you know, just right around this next bend, that's where it's gonna happen for me. But I think if you want to, I think you kind of have to be that way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, you know, and I'm not kidding anybody. Like, if you really look at my career, hence the name of my book, Horseshoes and Hand Grenades, I've been the king of being at the right place, but always at the wrong time. If you look at every band that I've been in, it's been one of these things where, for whatever reason, maybe it was the record label, maybe music was changing and it was going from 80s to grunge, or there's a million excuses. But it seems like the records that I do, when I do them, they get kind of lost in this weird shuffle. And then like 10 years later, 12 years later, 15, 20 years later, they become like these little gems that everybody like just goes, God, what a great record. I just found this, you know? It's so I think that's, I don't know if that's a consistent, but seems pretty consistent to me.
Yeah, sure does.
By the time my granddaughters are college age, they should be set for life.
There you go. The MC94 40th anniversary album release.
Yeah, the 50th anniversary of the Live 94, it should just go right through the roof.
Let's do it. Now, as always, let's look ahead to the future a little bit with a prediction. So I want you to finish this sentence for me. By the end of 2022, John Corabi will
be night manager at the 7-Eleven.
Which one will come visit?
Hopefully, honestly, buddy, just busy. I just want to be busy. I want to get back to work. I want to have my band together. Hopefully at that point I'll have 4, 5, 6 songs out and I can just get back to work with full band and the book and a few other things I've got in fire. So I just want to get back to normal busy.
It's a great answer. Exactly what we want from you, and we can't wait.
All right, mate.
All right, buddy. I'll talk to you then.
See ya.
Yeah. Have a good one.